Oh, morning YouTube. It's Tim from Bang Aquatics. Just thought I'd give you guys a quick tour of a couple of my tanks that I'm working with and that I got in my apartment, and thought I'd show you guys what I'm doing because I think it's pretty cool. So you'll notice the tank right behind me here. It has quite a bit of lava rock in it. It's got this nice cool hanging light. That is a Kessel A80. I'm going to do a product review on it. So yeah, as you can see, the lava rock is kind of stacked up. I built some scaffolding out of the light diffuser and made quite a thing of that. There's quite a bit of akadama as the planted tank substrate with the ADA sand. This is an ADA rimless tank, the 60p, so the dimensions are 2 feet by 12 feet by I think like 15 inches. Did I say, I think I meant, well I'll tell you what I meant, 2 feet by 1 foot by 15 inches. As far as livestock in this tank, right now it's very lightly stocked. I set the tank up less than a month ago. It's probably still cycling. So to avoid ammonia spikes and to simultaneously quarantine my new arrivals, I just put the fish that I bought in there. They're feral guppies from Puerto Rico, from a guy, Pedro, from guppylife.com. He collected the guppies himself in a ditch in Puerto Rico. It was a feral population. The stocking from the ditch is unsure whether or not it came from a domestic strain or a truly wild strain. So far the fish are fantastic. I mean, they're really hardy. I'll talk a little bit more about them. I think I can talk about it now. Anyways, so when I first got the fish, I forgot to temperature acclimate them, most of them, and I plopped them in some tank water. They didn't care. They loved it. One of them fell out of the net and into a bucket which had been used for cleaning supplies. It didn't care. Survived perfect. No injury. Well, because cleaning supplies, they're pretty lethal for fish, and for the guppy to not even care, given domestic guppies would die in a heartbeat. Thought that was pretty cool. And then one day I walked out of my bedroom, that's my bedroom, and I was looking to count the fish, and we were down a fish. And I was like, what the heck's going on? I'm looking all around. I see the guppy on the ground. I'm like, oh no, it jumped out. It's probably dead. No, it was still moving around. It must have jumped out like a minute or two before. Plopped it back in the tank. Totally fine, unscathed. So 3 for 3 on the hardiness on these bad boys. I guess they jump if they're scared. And I've kind of seen them school together. So that's kind of cool. I don't have any fry yet, which I'm really hoping for. So then I can incorporate them into my domestic line, but also keep a parallel feral line going to work with. So that'll be kind of cool. I'm hoping for a top sword variety in the fry. Pedro tried to send me a top sword male, but he didn't have any like mature adults, so he sent me an adolescent that he thought would have a sword on it. So we'll see what happens with that. You might notice up top here there's kind of like this weird piece of glass or something covering it, like a partial lid, and that's what it is. It's a partial lid. It's a piece of glass. Let me take that off and show you the top view because I'm doing something cool in it. Just pop that over there real quick. So we'll come over here and you can see, let me just get this kind of stabilized. You'll see that there's a lot of plants planted very close to the surface. And that's because I want to get stuff growing out of the top of the tank, out of the water, and I think that would be really cool. So we got some Ludwigia repens, more Ludwigia, a little, what is this? This is like Rotala indica or something. Kind of want to trim this back. This is a new acquisition I just bought at Aquashella, the Aquatic Experience. It's flame moss, a Phlagmonium moss, also just bought at the Aquatic Experience. Indian red sword, which has been like kind of dwindling in other tanks, trying to get it back, and maybe get it growing immersed. Crypt Wendy. This is Rotala atra. Now I don't do CO2 in my tanks, so I don't know how well this stuff will do submerged. So I thought I'd do it immersed. This is Echinodorus, either Renai or Little Mystery. I'm not sure. I think it's a Renai because I have more of those. And there's a little bit of Java Moss, Wind of Love in there. Not Java Moss, Java Fern, Wind of Love. All right, let's back up a little bit and we can take a look at some of the other plants that we have going on. Some Anubius Folia. Got this a couple years ago from a couple different plant or an auction I went to. As you can see, there's kind of like this cool little cave in there, which I'm pretty excited for, to see if anything will kind of hang out in there once I stock it more with more fish. More Anubius. Kind of got this planted area over here. And what is this? I think Rotala atra submerged, just to see what I get, as well as some Ludwigia and, oh, whoops, zoomed in way too much there. So, Ludwigia, Rotala atra, more Ludwigia. The substrate I'm using in this is Akadama, so it's technically kind of like a used for, what is it used for? It's used for bonsai trees and bonsai scapes. It came with some like guppy grass, so I've been just like letting that kind of rock. You might notice these eggshells. I'm trying to keep the water a bit harder for the new guppies, but I also added some aragonite sand that I had extra into like the filter and into the substrate and whatnot. So let that. There's some other plants in here. Also kind of tucked in these corners. That's a Phlagmonium moss, new purchase. That's a Anubius nana, believe it or not. It's pretty beat to crap. And then right in there is like a Bulbitis. I haven't had the best luck with Bulbitis, but whatever. So that's this tank. I have this new plant up here. I was thinking about planting it into here, but I thought that the leaves were too big for the scape and it might screw up the scale and make everything kind of look really small when I'm kind of hoping to make it look large. So yeah, eventually there's going to be just some cherry shrimp and stuff in here. I could probably add them in at this point, but there's no rush. There's no rush. Yeah, all right. So there's one of my tanks. Down here, we kind of have like a mess around tank with the males of my domestic strain and a couple of other like just planted tanks or planted things. So as you can see, there's copious amounts of Java moss and Christmas moss that I just have grown as time progresses. Here, let's move this right towards the front. There's cherry shrimp in here, ram's horn snails, I think, and Malaysian trumpet snails, and of course guppies. My domestic strain, so it's really just, they're all these fish are related, and I will admit, and I do this on purpose, I don't breed my guppies to be true. I breed them to be 50% half black mosaic and 50% snakeskin. There's a nice male if you can kind of see him. Yeah. And I do that to promote genetic variety or genetic variability in guppies, which are always inbred. and just pretty sick. I've got a couple of other plants in here, but these bad boys really aren't for sale, so we don't have to touch on them too much. The guppies are pretty good looking fish though. They've been bred to like brother and sisters for a couple of generations, and so it's really not good for the fish. So I'm looking forward to using some of the feral guppies to see what sort of fry I'll get. And I don't know if you guys know anything about guppies, but we'll do another video on them because it's a whole thing for me. All right, so that's this tank. And then my third tank I got going on over here is my 46-gallon bow front. I've had this tank for multiple years. Actually, one of the first big tanks I bought. Dimensions are 3 feet by 12 inches on the sides, and then 18 inches in the front. And then I think it's 19 inches high. So it's a pretty deep tank. Lighting, I got a Phoenix Planted Plus, I believe. And it grows plants. It's not a super strong light. But yeah, I mean, I've got some, what do you call those? What are those floating plants called? Amazon frogbit. I keep that, kind of sell it here and there. Yeah, it's a fun tank. I keep my bigger fish in here. As you can see, I got some swordtails. Here's a male, female, and there's like a koi kahaku. I'm not sure about what type, but it's some sort of koi or kahaku swordtail that I got in there. And I actually, first time really keeping swordtails. I've had these guys for probably 7 or 8 months. I've caught 1 fry from it successfully. 2 days ago, I saw a baby fry swimming around in here. Went to get my net, boom, and it was hidden. It was gone again. So, kind of disappointed in that. But you know, I think if I put them in my little 15-gallon that I got underneath my ADA, I'd probably be able to get some more fry that were hiding if I move these guys from one tank to the other. But then, like, would they eat the guppies? I don't know. Maybe. It's a possibility. So we'll see. We'll see. Anyways, other fauna that I got in here are some diamond tetras. This school here, you'll see them swimming around. 2 Corydoras Aeneas, which are good fish. And then I have an Epistogramma in here. I found him at Petco. I don't know what species, but the genus is Epistogramma. And I think it's a male. I'm pretty sure it's a male. He's a great fish. Such good personality, low-key, low maintenance, non-aggressive, has his little territory, has really interesting behavior. I love to watch him. He's in here too. He's probably like 2 inches long. And then we got the boss of the tank. I don't know. He might be coming around here. I don't know if you can see him over there. It's Big Homie. Big Homie's an angelfish. I've had him for maybe about 4 or 5 years. And he's my guy. Got a ton of assassin snails in here. I kind of move my assassin snails around from different tanks to control the snail populations as time goes on. But I've had less and less snails because these guys are so good at hunting them down, and they're honestly quite prolific. So I'll take out the adults, and a few months later I still won't have any snails, and I'll find baby assassin snails because they're just eating everything. So those are the tanks. I got driftwood in here, quite a few Amazon swords, which are just like massive plants. Another Anubius, some more Java fern Windelov, quite a bit of driftwood, and a couple of mosses I'm messing around with, and obviously like just some random Java moss and Christmas moss. Let's see. You guys kind of around up front. Don't mind the glare. So yeah, I mean these are the guys. This is the crew. I got some Cichlid pellets for these guys. That's honestly a little bit too big. It's the mini, so it's 3 millimeters, so almost a half a centimeter. And you feed it to them, and they just kind of like play around with it like they're balls, like sports balls. So they can't eat it. They'll float up. Somebody else will pick them up, and it's kind of cool. It's fun to watch, except for Big Homie. He eats them whole. So yeah, this tank, been doing a bit of maintenance on it recently, and it's looking quite a bit better and happier. I'm wondering if I should do anything else with it, if I should do CO2 or get another light. I think if I do one, I have to do the other, just because CO2 can be powerful, and I want the plants to grow like crazy. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. These are my tanks. I hope you guys. Oops. I hope you guys liked the video. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment, and I'll respond. And yeah, hope you liked the video. Have a good one, guys. Peace.